Hi guys, Darren Cornell here. Welcome to my studio. I hope you're all doing well. I wanted to do a short video about paint. Now, those of you who've been following me for a while know that for a while now, probably a couple of years, I don't know what it's been a long time, I've been saying that I'm going to be changing from the MP paints that I use MP to Vallejo paint, because basically you guys can buy these easier. So for those of you who don't just use my tutorial videos to fall asleep to, as some of you have said, for those of you who actually watch my videos to paint to, you will be able to buy the exact same paints that I use and paint along with me. And I've been saying I was doing this for a long time, and I didn't get around to it for a number of reasons. One, because I was super busy with my commissions and I was just focused on doing that, and I didn't want to do anything that would interrupt the process. And completely changing the paints that I use, I knew would be a big deal, because I would have to either find new colours that matched the ones that I had, and if they weren't perfect matches, I would have to figure out how would I remix those colours to match the ones that I was used to. Also, just the fact that they were different paints, so I may have to completely change how I paint. The layers of painting and dry brushing and washing may have to completely change my entire process. And I thought, I don't want to do anything to interrupt that right now because I'm really busy, so I put it off. Also, with all of these MP paints that I've got, that's not all of them, that was just a handful. I've got like 50 or 60 pounds worth of paint that I'm using and that I've already bought, and honestly I didn't want to just throw them away because that's money. So what I've been doing is using them until either I use up one particular colour, like down to the bottom, all gone, throw the jar away or recycle it. Actually, I've been keeping them because I'm always convinced that I'm going to reuse these, but I never know what for. Or I'd had the jar for so long that the paint had just sort of dried inside. Because of the way I work, where I often leave the lid off and use my brush just to dip in and out of different colours, the paint does dry quicker than if it's in one of these and always sealed. So what will happen sometimes is I'll be using paint from a pot and it will maybe be halfway down, but what will happen is the paint will start to get thicker and thicker and eventually turns into like a rubber plug of paint that you can't use anymore. And at that point, what I've been doing is changing over to rough match colours of the Vallejo stuff. So it's become a much slower changing over process. I've started using them and I've been using them on other stuff that is going to be filmed and stuff. There's going to be a full tutorial series of me painting ahead with just those paints. But so far it's been like a slow process of just slowly edging them in to the process as opposed to a straight swap. And I've still got some of these that are still usable and I will still use them. But I figured it was time to start making a move on actually finding out, okay, I've got all of these Vallejo ones that I bought. I bought a bunch of colours. That was about half of them. That I thought would be good matches for the ones that I had. But it's really difficult to tell when you look at things in bottles, or even if you open them and you look at the colours, are they actually quite close? And honestly, Vallejo sell so many colours. This is the colour chart that I got with my last order. So they sell all of those colours and all of those colours. It's insane. They sell like so many different slight shades. I used to do all of my painting, I still pretty much do all of my painting with about 10 colours and just mix all of the hundreds of different variations from those 10 colours. Vallejo just sell all of those hundreds of colours. And I'm not buying them all, but I want to be able to do it in a way that I can work relatively quickly, but also accurately accurate to how I used to work, but also accurate to how I want the things to look. Because with whatever I do, the painting, the video tutorials, anything, the most important thing is always getting the commission to look as good as it can, because that's the thing where I get the most, that's where I earn the most money. That's what people come to me for, and those things have to look right. So the paint has to be worked in a way to make those things look better. So what I've done on the back of a envelope of, I'd ordered some plastic sheeting to rebuild the windows on my TARDIS. I've got some clear plastic sheeting, I've got some white plastic sheeting, and I've done one there. I haven't filled in the back of it or glued it in or anything yet, but you can see how that window there looks different from that window there, and they're all going to look like that. So this plastic sheeting came in this envelope. So what I've done, well, it does not like that light. Tell you what, let's flip overhead. Let me bring that, I can't even reach it now. Let me bring this light in. Oh no, I've dropped my magnetic Groot. I've got him stuck on the side of my lamp. No, he's in one piece. Hooray! Groot survived. Clunk. Let me bring this light in, and if I flipped the overhead camera with me in the corner. Hello! Whoa, that brightness is way off. Okay, so change to that camera, go onto the settings, and close up. There you go, that's a bit better. I think the camera needs cleaning. But that's fine. Okay. So I got the focus quite high up. Clearly the last time I was filming something I was holding it close to the camera. But that's actually okay. Apart from the fact that the camera doesn't like white. I can't really show you this now. This is rubbish. There you go. I'll hold it like that. When it gets too bright, the reflections just make the camera go weird. Because there's a bright light right where the camera is. Anyway, so what I've done, all of the top stuff is the Vallejo colours that I thought may be close to being a match to the others. The bottom row is the colours that I use the most out of my MP paints. Now, this is really frustrating. I can't even show it properly without the camera doing that. Can I put it on manual? Oh, there you go. That seems to have done it. Okay. That's how I get rid of that. Anytime that does that, just turn it onto manual, not automatic, and it will do it. Why is that? Let me knock the focus back down though. No, that is as clear as the focus goes. I guess it's just maybe the camera does need cleaning. Doesn't look dirty. Okay, I'll just hold it up. So, those of you who have watched my painting videos will know the rough process that I go through each time when I'm painting a head. The head will be primed, sprayed with grey primer. I usually start off by doing a few layers of tanned flesh. I actually didn't have any pale flesh. There was a little bit in the thing that was drying up, so that's not a fully accurate colour. It's actually closer to that, but a bit darker. I do some layers of tanned flesh. I dry brush with some pale flesh mixed into it. And when I've got those shades roughly right, I go over with a thin wash of leather brown. Then I start adding some reds in to get some shadows and some blushes and some shading. Maybe add a little bit of blue into some of that to make some purples. And there's a rough process. It's different for each head, but that's roughly what I do. And you can see here I've got 6 flesh colours that came in. I don't know if it was a kit of flesh colours that I bought, or whether I think I was sent them, to be honest. I think one of my patrons sent me these, or whether it was just a load of separate flesh colours. But I've got a load here. Now, none of them by themselves actually look to be a good match for tanned flesh. Bizarrely, light brown seems to be quite close. It's not quite as pink. It's a bit more yellow ochre-y. It's a little bit more orange, but it's quite close. And I think if I mix light brown with that one, the basic skin tone, I think I can get a colour that's quite close to that. Leather brown there. There's not really any. I thought light brown was going to be a match, but it's not. The closest one is a earth red that I got. It's actually not one of the normal range. It's one that's designed for airbrushes, so it's much more watery, much more thin, but that actually seems to be the closest colour. Now, given that I use that for really thin watered down washes anyway, that might actually work quite well. Chocolate brown. There's a mahogany brown, which is a bit more red. It's not quite what I want, but I think if I mix that with a bit of something else, I could get that colour. So you can see there's ways where I could either have a colour that's a good match, or if not, figure out a way to mix something with it to make the colour that I need. Now, yes, I could, and probably will at some point. You know what, let me change back to me. Hello. I probably could, and at some point I probably will, change back to... Oh, the light is doing that thing again, where the arm of the light just slowly swings around towards me. I will probably change back to... What am I saying? I've been so distracted by the light coming towards me like a weird robotic Terminator. Colours. I can figure out what to do to get the right colour that I need, and what will probably happen at some point is I will figure out, either by buying random paints until I get the one that I need, or by asking someone. I don't know, I'll figure it out. I will probably end up buying the colour that is the specific colour that I want, just to save time and make it easier for you guys when I say, oh, use this colour, instead of get this colour and add 3 drops of that and mix it up. Even though that's how I might be doing it, I want to make it easier for you guys. So I will end up eventually on single colours probably to make it easier, but at least I know that if I match that and that will get close to the colour that I used to use. And it might be easy, it might be interesting, I should say, for people following me, because it will allow them to see how I work in terms of mixing colours and trying to match colours. So I think I've got a rough thing here that will let me start painting. I've still got quite a few of these ones that are not dry. Some of them I haven't opened yet, and they are still fully liquid, brand new. I'm not going to throw them away. I am going to use these, but what I will do is probably for stuff that I'm not filming, I will use these paints wherever I can, just to use them. For stuff that I am filming, I will use these wherever I can to allow people to see me using the new paints. Now, stuff that I'm filming, that stuff that goes onto my Patreon for tutorials, I record a lot of stuff in advance, so a lot of these things are going to end up being on the tutorials for a while probably, because I record a lot of stuff in advance, and so I've already filmed a load of stuff and will probably have more to come. But at least that's what's happening with these. I'm changing over. I've done a testing. I'm just going to put this down next to my desk, so I've always got this, so whenever I do my first commission with purely Vallejo paints, I'll be able to have that next to me and go, okay, I want that colour, I needed to mix that, and eventually I'll get used to it, and it will just become second nature to me, like it has been for the last 12 years using these things. So it's happening, and I just wanted to let you guys know. There's some things like, oops, I used to use one called Stone Green, which where's the back? There you go, Stone Green, which I use for characters that have green eyes, or bluey green eyes, or browny green eyes. That's the colour that I use, and then mix it in with blue or brown or whatever, and it's pretty much perfect as it comes. Now, I bought a colour that I thought was going to be the same, because on the colour chart that I showed you, it looked right, and I got it, and it's called Green Sky, and it's just way too, see, it even looks close there, but on the paint sample, it's just much too green, it's much too intense, but by looking at the samples now, the reason why I did this to make it, the reason why this is useful, is I can look at that and go, okay, I need to add a little bit of brown. I think that airbrush brown, where's it gone, will probably work. Add a little bit of brown to it, and maybe a little bit of cream. It's actually called ivory, the one that I've got here, or maybe a little bit of white, and that should give me the same colour. So that's how it's going to work. So I will put that back down here next to my desk to keep it safe, and that's what's happening. So I've finally done an actual painting test of the colours. A few of them match, most of them don't. I can figure out a way to bluff my way through using them by mixing different colours here and there, and eventually I will probably buy colours so I can just say to you, right, we want this colour green, and it'll be the right colour that we use, instead of get that green, add some brown, add some this, add some that, which to be honest for me is more interesting, but I also want it to be easy, so I think it'll be a mix of everything. I don't know what I'm doing. That's it. I'm going to let you go because I've been talking for 10 minutes longer than I thought I was going to. Have a good day, guys. Ask me any questions if you want. Look after yourselves. Be nice to somebody for no reason other than to be nice to them. And I'll see you soon. Have a good... Where are we? Thursday. Have a good day. Have a good couple of days, and then have a good weekend. And I'll see you soon. I'm looking down there because I'm trying to get my cursor in the right place. I'm going. Bye. Take care.